Hello friends, it's Dave here from SaveDex, and I'm bringing you a discussion video where we're going to talk about some gaming memories of a couple of GameCube Mario games, and I've been joined by a special guest, Logan from Nintendo Hub.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Hope you guys are having a great week.
Logan has his own channel, as I mentioned, Nintendo Hub. I'll link that in the top pinned comment, so go check him out. He does some great videos over there. Recently showing off his entire physical Switch collection, which was a really great watch, I must say.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah.
It's huge now at this point.
I did a live stream showing off my entire Switch collection earlier this year, both physical and digital. It was like 3 hours long or something. But
Good lord.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I got mine to an hour.
That's still up on the channel. So what we're going to do this week, because at the end of the week coming up, we've got Mario Party Superstars coming out, which is obviously a new Switch game coming out, but based on old school Mario Party. But so that's sort of put in the mood of sort of old school Mario games. And I've been talking to Logan and just basically want to talk about a couple of Mario games that mean a lot to us. The first one being Super Mario Strikers, and the second one being Super Mario Sunshine.
Oh, yeah.
So, were these... Because you mentioned to me before that you were a GameCube kid.
Yes, sir. That's where I started my Nintendo journey, was with the GameCube.
Cool. So how old were you when you got your GameCube?
Probably like, I would say 5 or 6.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was born in '99, so I'm only 22 right now.
Oh, wow. So obviously, this, although we've been liaising through our videos and on Discord, this is the first time we've ever spoken directly to each other. So I'm actually 34, I'm 35 next month, so this is interesting to get like a child's perspective and a teenager's perspective of the GameCube, really, because I was 15 when I got mine.
Yeah, well, my first game ever, actually, for the GameCube, funny enough, was Super Mario Strikers, and that's why it means so much to me, is because whenever I first got that, I really didn't know anything about Nintendo, and my brother was a huge Xbox guy, so when we got the GameCube, we really didn't know, how I was going to feel about Nintendo, and then we just started playing Mario Super Strikers against each other, like, every single night, and then just out of nowhere, just a love for Nintendo just spawned, it just happened. So, ever since then...
For me, it was Super Mario Brothers on the NES. That's how much older I am.
Oh my, yeah. I have never even played that before, if that tells you how
fair
young
enough.
I am.
So basically, so Super Mario Strikers came out. Obviously, I already had like a couple of Mario parties. You have Mario Golf and Tennis on there. It seemed inevitable we'd have like football or soccer for Mario, and I was excited to hear it. Now, one interesting thing is, although it was announced, Super Mario Strikers, it was called, in the UK, I don't know if you know this, it's actually called Mario Smash Football.
No, I didn't know that. I only know it by the American name, with his Strikers, as we aforementioned, so...
But I will say right now that pretty much everyone in the UK does refer to it as Mario Strikers. And it was a weird name change, because we in the UK, obviously, if it was called Mario Soccer over there, I could understand them calling it Mario Football here, but we know the term strikers. Like,
why not use it in both regions? Like, why would you change the name?
Yeah, definitely. So, but we did get a sequel on the Wii, which I think you told me you'd not played before.
I didn't even know it happened, to be honest with you, until you told me about it.
So that kept the name Mario Strikers over here, because it's called Mario Strikers Charged in America, but over here it's called Mario Strikers Charged Football, because again, we need to be told it's football, like.
Yeah, just like you don't know that he's kicking a soccer ball in the net, right?
Pretty much. It's weird. Sometimes the namings do get weird. So
that's crazy.
So what were your favourite sort of memories? So you were 5 or 6, you say, when you got it. Was it mainly sort of the multiplayer that drew you to it?
It was, and it was also the fact that me and my brother, that was like our first gaming bonding experience, was me and him playing that. So whenever it would come to, like the super kicks and stuff, where it would be like over the top and you kick the ball a certain way and it would go in the net, and all that sort of stuff, we would always show off towards each other whenever we would do that to each other. Like if I got Mario's like fire kick and I would kick his goalie straight into his net, I would always talk smack to him and turn around and all that sort of stuff, and he'd do the same. So
yeah,
that I think was what made it best for me, was because me and my brother really just went to town on that game. Like we put so many hours into Super Strikers compared to everything else we had that it wasn't even fair. So.
Nice. Because when I was sort of looking forward to it coming out, but then I've got the magazine with me now from back in the day. It's called NGC Magazine, which was a Nintendo UK publication, and they ended up giving it 69%, which is the funny number.
Really?
But yeah, I know, and it's like one of the negatives they put is Kremlings in goal. It's a bit
Are you
weird.
serious?
Yeah, so anyway, they sort of break down, which is surprising considering it's a Nintendo magazine. Anything with Mario, it's like in the same issue they're reviewing the Mario baseball game. They've given it 80%. So, you know,
that's just wrong, because I think personally the soccer game's way better. But
yes, I've never played the baseball game either. So what turned me to this game though was I had a friend who bought it. And he sent me a text saying Mario Smash Football is awesome in my opinion, he said. And I went over to him and he showed it to me, and yeah, I absolutely loved it as well. But by this point, like the Wii was almost out, and I think by that point we knew a sequel was coming out on the Wii, so I thought I'll just wait for the sequel to come out. So just to sort of tell you a bit about the Wii version, because obviously I'm looking at a list of the characters now. The team captains. So you had the team captains, then you had the sidekicks. You got Toads, Koopas, Hammer Brothers, Birdos, and like you chose who the sidekicks would be. So was it that you'd have three Toads if you chose Toad?
Okay, that's interesting. That's an interesting game mechanic right there. So what you're saying is, just so I can make sure I'm getting it right, so you would pick a captain, like let's say you pick Captain Toad or whatever, no switch pun intended, but let's say you pick that, and then you would get like a bunch of his buddies as your teammates, and then you would go and play, that sort of thing, or?
Oh, so I'm talking about like say you choose Luigi as your captain, and then you've got a choice between Toad, Koopa, Hammer Brothers, Birdo.
Oh, okay.
To go with your team.
Okay. So they're like the side players. Okay, I gotcha. Gotcha.
That's what I meant. But then with the Wii version, it was sort of like the same deal. You chose a captain, but then with the side characters, there were 8 of them rather than 4, but you can mix and match them. And they was like Monty Mole was one of them, for example. He was probably my favourite.
Yeah, that's actually really, really cool. Because I never knew, as I said before, I never knew it was on the Wii. So, because I did have a Wii, but I just didn't. I got, I think, Wii Sports Resort, the Mario Galaxy games, and then like Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, and I think that was it for my Wii.
Oh, cool. All right. And
yeah.
Do you still have your Wii accessible?
No, I do not. I sold my Wii whenever I was selling my PS4 and my Wii to get. I mean, not PS4, PS3 and my Wii to get a PS4.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah. So there's also one interesting thing about the first Mario Strikers is Bowser was like an item or something, wasn't he? Like he jumped down onto the pitch and breathed fire around. Yeah,
he did that.
Yeah.
He did that, and he I'm pretty sure he did something relatively similar also in the baseball game, because I know you said you didn't play the baseball one, but the baseball one has a lot of really cool power-ups and like, you know, little arcadey things in there too. So if you like baseball, I actually suggest you give it a go. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I do enjoy playing baseball games in general, but the thing is, it's so like expensive to find nowadays.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But Mario Strikers, the Wii version of Mario Strikers isn't too expensive to buy last time I looked. But anyway, in this Wii sequel, Bowser was a playable captain.
That's actually pretty. That's really cool. Because I don't think he was a captain in the other one, right? Like the first one. I'm trying to remember.
No, he wasn't. But then the other characters they added were Bowser Jr., Diddy Kong, and P.T. Piranha. Although I've never unlocked P.T. Piranha in that because it's too hard.
Yeah, that Piranha was so hard to unlock.
Yeah, but so it's like So yeah, it's just a shame that they haven't made a new one in a long time. I don't know how well they sold, but honestly, Mario Strikers it's just fun, honestly.
Yeah, I honestly, whenever I saw the golf one, the golf game that recently came out, I think it was like
Yeah.
Super Rush, I thought that was going to be Mario Strikers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just because they were saying it's going to be a Mario sports game. That was the
Yeah.
rumor. So I was like, there's no way in heck that they're going to bring back golf, because I thought baseball, what's it called? Baseball, soccer. I think they even may have had a basketball game. I thought all of them sports would get one before, golf would. But then they made the golf game. And the golf game's good. I'm not hating on the golf game. It's a really good game. But at the same time, it's kind of like they had an opportunity to make, Super Strikers for the Switch, and they could have taken what they did from the first two, and they could have improved upon it and made it so much better with better graphics. They could have done motion controls again because you have the Joy-Cons. They could have just done all of this stuff, but they kind of just left it, and I don't like that. Super Strikers needs to at least get a remaster. It needs to come back in some form, some way.
Yeah, fully agree. So like on the Wii, they also did a Mario Sports Mix, which had 4 sports in it. And there was like the ice hockey, basketball, dodgeball, and volleyball, and they worked well. And I'm thinking each of those could be fleshed out into a full game. Maybe not volleyball, but the ice hockey could play just like Mario Strikers, really, if they did all the zany items and it was kind of
and you can have the
brutal
fights
as well.
and stuff. You can have fights in there too if it does fully ice hockey.
Yeah, because Mario Strikers was, for Mario especially, a brutal game. They really, especially in the sequel, everyone's the character models I'm looking at now, they look angry, and the art style on the box is just insane. But it's just strange Nintendo allowed that, to be honest.
Yeah, well, if I remember right, the GameCube was had the kind of darker toned Nintendo games. Not all of them, because a lot of them are on Switch too.
Well, it launched with Luigi's Mansion, and they published Eternal Darkness.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was the era of if Nintendo's gonna go dark, they're gonna do it now.
And it's where it was the last console they did where they really gave every one of their franchises a chance.
I missed that.
It's the last time we saw F-Zero. We had loads of Mario parties. We had all the Mario spin-offs really on that. And we had a Donkey Kong Mute Rhythm game as well as a 2D platformer.
That's where Jungle Beat was?
Yeah, Jungle Beat was a platformer.
Oh, I thought that was on Wii. Oh my
bad.
Yeah,
they ported it to Wii eventually.
Oh, I love Jungle Beat. I know that game.
It was controlled with the bongos originally.
That's exactly why I loved it. I was
yeah, that was good. But yeah, it's a shame that they put out all these specially Mario spin-offs on one console, and then in later ones, I don't know if it's due to sales not being as high as they'd like, but maybe the golf and tennis ones are. Undoubtedly, I reckon the tennis ones probably sell the best. But it's just a shame they're not doing much more with it. But yeah, it's definitely a series I'd like to see back.
Yeah, now look, the thing is too is that I'm kind of going to go into Mario Sunshine a little bit now.
Yeah, we can move on to that. That's fine.
Yeah, with Mario Sunshine, I, again, was really young whenever I played this, but it was the first game that I really played that took the platforming mechanics, and I know this is going to sound stupid, but it was kind of in a weird way, a third-person shooter, where you had the hose thing on your back, and you had to shoot it at the walls and shoot it at the gook and stuff, and you can make portals and pathways through that, and then you would go to multiple different worlds. Honestly, it was probably the most unique Mario game I've played, because you have Mario Galaxy and all those where it's unique worlds, but you in sense do the same thing. You know what I mean? You're still platforming, you're still going and collecting things and all that sort of stuff, whereas Super Mario Sunshine to me felt like you were constantly doing different things that kind of were somewhat pushing Mario forward. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, and I really like that you referred to FLUDD as that hose thing. as well.
Yeah, that hose thing.
It's flood. It's a flash liquidizer ultra dousing device.
Yeah, but it was so cool. Like,
Yeah,
you could fly
definitely.
with that thing.
Yeah. So now one thing you said in your Switch collection video that I've been sort of saying this about other games as well, but when you got to Mario Odyssey and you said it's like probably like the best Mario 3D platformer there is, or something like that, and
Yeah.
it's one of those where I'm thinking I agree with that, but I mean, I said I did a top 10 Mario games video last year, and it's like, I think Mario Odyssey is the best 3D Mario game, but it's not my favourite, because it being the best and being your favourite is a different thing, I think.
Yeah.
Like, Metroid Dread obviously recently came out, and I think in comparing it to, say, Super Metroid, I think Metroid Dread is technically a better game, but you have that nostalgic bias for something like, for the games you played when you were younger.
Exactly. And
Yeah, so it's like Mario 64 will always be my favourite Mario game, because that's the one I had when I was like 10 years old. And, so nothing will... I don't have a child's perspective of these other games. And the child's perspective always wins out.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to lie, when it comes to Metroid Dread is by far my favorite, but I also didn't have that nostalgic lens for the other ones like you have. But at the same time, whenever it comes to Mario, like, I'm conflicted between my personal favorite between Sunshine and Odyssey, because Odyssey gives me everything I want from a 3D platformer Mario. It gives me everything I want for that sort of thing. But then you have Sunshine, who is so unique and is pushing the envelope constantly on what a Mario game can be. So you look over here and you're just like, if they did this, I would be okay. If they do this, I would be okay. And if they could find a way to mesh these two together, that would be the greatest Mario game ever made. I mean, that's how I feel about it personally, because that water gun, Flood, I think you said it's called, right?
Yeah.
That gun is the most unique thing that I've, at least in my memory, that I've used in a Mario game. Where you can fly, you can shoot the walls, you can make portals with the freaking thing. Like, it is awesome. Like, it is probably the coolest mechanic I've seen Mario do in the 10, 15 years I've been playing Mario games. So, take that as you will. But I guess since I'm a guy who likes unique takes and taking something awesome and making it better, I kind of like Sunshine better than Odyssey in the regard of pushing Mario to do something new. Because Odyssey's great, but it's a great Mario game. It's great at what Mario's already doing. Whereas Sunshine pushes that envelope so far that, they're showing if we wanted to do a unique take on Mario, we could do it right here. This, Sunshine. But if we want to make an awesome 3D game, we can do it with Odyssey. Those two formulas work, they're great, and they can be expanded upon, and they should be. I just wanted to say that.
No, that's fair, that's brilliant. Yeah, because another thing, it's not just unique in the whole having flood on your back, but it's also unique in its setting as well, and sort of like the environment Mario's in, because like there's no Goombas in this game. There's no like proper Koopa Troopers. You get some like enemies that look like them, but they're not the same. Like the piranha plants in it are made of ink. And things like that. It's like it's a very different environment for Mario.
Yeah, and that's also another thing that I thought was awesome, and the fact that they made Mario a criminal. Like, that's the first game where they made Mario out to be a bad dude, and he was using the flood to clear his name. That was the whole story. Like,
and it's I think it's the only Mario game to have proper full voice acting as well.
That too. Even though I think there's a lot of in that too, but I'm not sure.
yeah, it has that. But like in the opening cutscenes, like Peach and Toadsworth and that all talk proper full sentences. So yeah, that was a unique thing to see. So obviously as well, because like obviously you're getting a child's perspective of this. I obviously had a teenage perspective. I was nearly 16 by the time this game came out. So even though I was still playing like Mario and all that, but one thing about it was when YouTube wasn't a thing when this game came out, and the internet wasn't really, you didn't have it in every household, and so I could only rely, like this magazine I mentioned earlier, they gave Mario Sunshine 96%, by the way, so they were very much in favour of it, and I very much enjoyed it as well, but there was plenty of people that didn't look too kindly on the game, for things we'll mention soon, but I found once sort of like the YouTube became big and people were making gaming channels, people were looking at Mario Sunshine a lot more favourably then, and I'm wondering if it's because these are people that were kids when it came out. It was probably their first Mario game like it was for you, so they have that nostalgia for it, which is why they like it the best.
I mean, probably. I would say that's probably a very valid fact. I think some of them probably grew up before and just saw the uniqueness of it, but I think most of them were probably like, yo, I have never played something like this before, because you gotta think, I think it came out in like 2003?
2002.
I was close, 2002. So, whenever that came out, there was really nothing like it yet in the 3D platforming space, as well as in the Mario space, because Mario was always just, simple, go here, do this, do that, sort of fare. But then they went to Mario Sunshine, and they were just like, okay, let's just blow all that up, and let's make it relatively open. It was the first relatively open Mario ever. Let's give you the flood gun so you can have unique gameplay like flying, shooting the walls, all this sort of stuff. Let's do that. That worked out well for them. And let's make a story where we make our hero seem like a bad dude. You haven't seen that before. So a lot of people, I think, that stuck with them, because I know some people that grew up in the era that you grew up with SNES, NES, and all that sort of stuff. And they're like, man, Mario Sunshine is like top tier, god tier quality Mario game. Like, I know a lot of people that say that, and they're from your area of gaming, not mine. Like, they weren't 6 when they played it; they were like 17. So.
Yeah, it's like going on to that, because obviously I came out of sort of Mario 64 as well, which was like a sandbox game as well, where you had the collectibles. And one thing about Mario 64 that was disappointing is Yoshi's in the game at the very end, but you can't ride him. But this game, you could ride him, and you could spit out juice to make platforms. And but another thing about this game that sort of people, because there are some shines in this, because this game is very hard. And there's some particular shines, like the Watermelon Festival, for example. Do you remember that one?
Yes, very.
Where you have to roll that watermelon, and it's very easy for it to get destroyed. But in a sense, though, and then there's the infamous Pachinko machine one as well.
I do remember that one as well, yeah.
Which it keeps on dragging you to one side. It just feels like it's not as well polished. But those shines, in all fairness, are optional. All you have to do is beat Shine 7 on each level, like do the Shadow Mario shine, and then you unlock the final level. So you don't have to get those shines to beat the main game. Obviously, if you want 100% it, you do. And there's also, because in 3D All-Stars as well, where they put Sunshine on there, they didn't correct this either, but the blue coins, there's no tracker for it in-game that tells you like how many blue coins you have on each level, or how many are left to find. But I mean, you can use walkthroughs for it, but it would have been nice for like a tracker for that as well.
Yeah, one thing I will say that disappointed me about the 3D All-Stars version is they effectively changed absolutely nothing. So like if they had a problem, if they had a problem in the original, it was still there in the 3D All-Stars. So like we were thinking that we were at least going to get a remaster where they would fix some of the problems, like they did with Skyward Sword, where they fixed the bad control scheme and stuff like that to make it more accessible. We were kind of expecting something like that, but we didn't get that. What we got was, a half-baked, half-crapped out, version of the original game, where dude, they were so shameless about it that it was literally not even in full screen. Like, I mean, that's when you know that they were not really caring, is whenever you're playing, Mario 64 Sunshine. I think Galaxy was full screen because that was already optimized for full screen, but
they
the other
did.
two were not.
They did put Sunshine into a widescreen on that, just not 64.
Oh really? Oh man,
Yeah.
Never mind. I thought that it was like the weird widescreen where like the top and the letterbox. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Also, one thing as well was because obviously I haven't talked about the GameCube controller, because I love that thing, the GameCube controller, and one thing it used was the analog triggers to control FLUDD, which felt great.
Yeah, it didn't feel as good on the Joy-Cons, if I'm being honest. I like the GameCube controller better for that, so I agree.
Yeah, but they did eventually, because I've got the GameCube adapter for the Switch that came with Smash, and the GameCube Switch controller, and they did patch the 3D All-Stars so you can use the GameCube controller with it.
Dude, this is new information. I didn't know you could use a GameCube controller on Switch.
Yeah, you need an adapter for it, which I don't know how much they cost now, but I got the special edition of Smash that came with it.
Hey, I mean, it's almost worth it to me, man, because that's one of my top 3 favorite controllers ever. I freaking love the GameCube controller. So
yeah, same here. Okay, so what was your favorite level in Sunshine?
The one I remember most is actually one of the first ones because it kicked my butt. Okay, so do you remember the one with the tower where you had to run up and I think it was rocks were rolling down and you had to jump over the rocks, and whenever you got to the top, there was a piranha plant and the boss fight was a piranha plant?
Yeah, PT Piranha, yeah. The level's called Bianco Hills.
Yes, that. I was in there for over an hour whenever I was younger. I beat it really quickly on 3D All-Stars, but whenever I played it when I was younger, dude, I was in there for so freaking long. I just remember dying constantly. That was my Dark Souls when I was a child, man. That was hard.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you had that one. That was a good opener, I thought. Because obviously it's set on... I just love the concept of Old Delfino. It's one island, and the levels are all on this same island. You can stand on, say, Bianco Hills and look out in the background. You can see Rico Harbour. You can see the island that Pinner Park's on. You can see the other levels as if it's one big world. And obviously they're separate areas programmed into the game, but it feels like you could go to this other level from here if you wanted to. Yeah,
and that was personally one of my all-time favorite parts about Sunshine. Is it felt free,
Yeah.
It felt great to play. I love this game. It'll be in my memory, in my heart forever, honestly, because this game, it shaped my childhood. This is, when you're 5 or 6, you're debating on what company you're gonna back as your favorite console manufacturer for the rest of your life. I had a PlayStation 1, I had an Xbox, and I had the GameCube. So I played all 3, and I spent by far the most time in GameCube because of Strikers and Sunshine. Those 2 games drew me in. I never even played games like F-Zero. I wish I did now that I'm a huge Nintendo fan, but I never got into them whenever I was a kid because I had those other games that were always just there for me. If I'm having a bad day, me and my brother would just go into the game room and we would just beat the crap out of each other in Strikers, or I would go and get my brother and we'd take turns and we'd play Sunshine levels and I would get dominated by PD Piranha and he'd beat it in one try and laugh at me. It's just little things like that made GameCube great for me, was that these 2 games really brought me and my family together more than any other game. And it's funny because it's really just a bunch of Mario characters basically beating the crap out of each other in Strikers, and then it's, just a Mario 3D platformer single-player game, of all things. It's not even a multiplayer game.
Sometimes playing a single-player game together is the best. Taking it in turns and helping, giving advice and things like that. Okay everyone, that's all we had time to record for on this session. So we are going to continue this Talk on Mario Sunshine on a different day, so make sure you're subscribed to not miss part 2 of this discussion. Thank you to Logan for joining me on this one. His channel, as I said, is linked in the top pinned comment, Nintendo Hub. Go check him out. And thank you for listening everyone. We'll see you in the next one.